Hi, folks. Welcome to episode 1 of Budget Nerds. Yes. My name is Ernie. I'm a teacher here.
And I'm Ben. I'm a community manager at YNAB. And we're going to be talking about just some of the nerdy things about budgeting. I think there's a lot of folks out there that are, really into it and really like to just talk about it. And, there's not really a whole lot of opportunities to really dig in with some people who are really into budgeting and talk about it. If you try to talk about it with some of your friends, they're probably like, what are you talking about? So we thought it'd be fun to have conversations like this with each other and also with you all. So
absolutely. Us YNAB nerds, we need a budgeting outlet like this. So that's what these videos are for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're gonna get in deep on some stuff, just some tips that we do, just I think it'll be really interesting to hear, the way you do things, Ernie, and the way other people do things.
Absolutely,
and maybe it'll give us some ideas on how we want to change our routines and what we do in our budgets. Why don't you talk about a little bit, Ernie, about how long you've been using YNAB so people know?
Yeah, so I've been budgeting ever since my college days back in early 2000, using a spreadsheet. Never very successful, but I liked getting into Excel and kind of keeping track of the numbers. And then a friend introduced me to YNAB. I tried it, quit. I didn't get it.
Okay. All right.
Tried it again because my friend kept saying YNAB's awesome, YNAB's awesome, YNAB's awesome. And the second time, everything just clicked with me. So that was probably 5 years ago.
I think that's pretty normal. Sometimes it takes a couple tries for folks to get into it.
Yes, completely. And I don't know, I forget what it was, but as soon as it clicked, I'm like, I am all in, forever. This is the best. And then I've been on, I've been working as a YNAB employee for about the past 3 years. Most of my time has been spent doing customer support, and just recently came on board as a teacher. So how about you, Ben? How long have you been using?
Totally natural. I've been using YNAB since 2013, so almost 7 years now. I found it on Steam. This was back in the YNAB 4 days. I found it on, which is always so weird because normally there's only video games there. But I found it there. Before that, I was using Mint, and I kind of broke it. I felt like I was doing so many workarounds to get it basically to do what YNAB does. But I've been loving it ever since. And I started working at YNAB in 2016. So I was a customer for a few years, and then and I was a bit of a fanatic then, and still am. And I joined the team as a teacher, and then moved it more into helping our communities and still doing a lot of education stuff like this as well. We're all teachers at YNAB in some way.
Yep, every one of us. All right, well, in this episode, we're going to talk about the monthly rollover. So,
yes.
Do you want to dive into that?
Sure. Yeah, I'll just talk about the way I typically do it, what my routine is, and give you guys maybe some ideas on how you might want to try some things. And by the way, if you are interested, if you're more new and you're interested in the basics of the monthly rollover, check out the link in the description below, and we'll give you just a basic video on what happens in YNAB when the month rolls over and how to set up a routine for that. But we're going to get nerdy and talk about some of the weird things we do too. My typical routine starts with covering any overspending. That's the first thing, really. We try to cover overspending as soon as it happens, but sometimes we wait till the end of the month to cover some things. So we'll cover anything that we haven't already covered in overspending. And I try to cover it from within the month that it happened, because we are a month ahead, my wife and I, and that's a big goal in YNAB, is to be able to budget for next month completely with money that you made in the current month before that month begins. And so rather than stealing from next month, I try to cover anything from the current month. Once any overspending is covered, usually what I do is I have a budget meeting with my wife, and we talk about whatever we need to talk about for that month. We keep a list. So we just anytime really throughout the month, if we need to talk about something in our budget meeting at the end of the month, we will put it on that list. So it's like stuff we want to buy, or something weird, somebody's birthday's coming up or something, we need to, budget some extra money for gifts, or, just anything weird that we see coming, we just put on that list so we can work through it. And we have a couple categories that I think really helps with communication between us. One is called budget meeting items, BMI. That's what I call it. I even have an acronym, a little BMI. Nice. It's nice because when I'm like putting it in, I can just say BMI. And that, so no spending actually goes into BMI. It's not a spending category. It's just a holding category for any special income we get. So this past month, for example, my daughter's birthday was in the middle of the month, and her great grandma, my grandma, sent her a check for like $40 to get her a gift, right? So I'm not sure exactly how we want to spend that, but we need to talk about it. So rather than just leaving it in to be budgeted, I put it in this little BMI, budget meeting items category.
Okay, that's
and so it's
slick.
So it's just kind of a holding place. And so what we'll do is we'll kind of like process the stuff in budget meeting items. So for example, what are we going to buy Flora for a little birthday gift, a little late birthday gift? That's my daughter Flora, and for the money that her grandma sent, and then we move on to a category called margin, which is my favorite category. Margin. Because
interesting.
Yeah. So what this is, so if you guys didn't know, I'm sure most of you guys know, we talk a lot about having a budget template, which is where you have goals on all your categories. And the idea is the amount of money that you need to fulfill all of those goals should match your monthly income or your expected income. It's just a way to make sure that your plan is going to be right, like it's going to be realistic, right?
Yep.
So we set that template to be just a little lower than what our typical monthly income is. We like to have $300 of what we call margin. It's just some extra money that we can be flexible with. So I put that in another holding category called margin. And so at the end of the budget meeting, we end with a happy note. We put the margin out there. we assign the margin money.
So right? You're not pulling from the margin category with overspent.
No, I try not to, because then it's sad, because this is supposed to be like money that you can have some fun with, and so if you take from there, it's a little bit of a bummer because you have less to work with. So I try to cover overspending from within the month that it happened. So, but sometimes we do. I wouldn't say we always. If we had like a lot of overspending, like some real unexpected purchase. Sometimes we might take from the margin to cover it, but typically try not to.
Okay.
And so the margin would go to anything weird, like anything on our checklist that we need to cover. It's kind of like a stuff I forgot category almost. It's like if something comes up that we just didn't expect, we could put it there. Or if we have any extra, we might put it to our spending categories. Might just throw some extra in there, right? Or I remember like back in March, we were like going into lockdown, and we were like, man, it'd be really nice to not have to cook so much. And so we put some extra money in restaurants so we'd have some money to do takeout or do delivery. So we did that a lot. That kind of thing. And or we might, if we saw a need, we might give some of it away, or put it on our big goal. Right now our big goal is to pay off our mortgage, so we might put it there. So it just depends on the month. Sometimes it gets used up really fast, and sometimes we're like, oh, I don't know what to do with this, so it just kind of depends.
And are you guys scheduling these meetings at the end of the month, or are they just kind of whenever time works?
Whenever works, really. We're not super rigid about it. Like I said, the typical month's budget is covered because we're a month ahead. So it's not like it has to happen right away. We try to do it as soon as we can, because it's definitely, especially for things that are coming up, we want to be sure that we have any extra money we need to budget to, something we want to be sure that we get that in quickly, right? But so we usually have it, maybe 2 or 3 days after the beginning of the month, but sometimes we'll go longer, and we'll have some things sitting there for a while. So, it just depends. But typically pretty soon after the month rolls over, we'll get it done.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you, Ernie? Any? Oh, do you have a question? Another question for me?
No. I was just going to get into my process. So
yeah, get into your process here.
I love the end of the month. Now I'm a little bit different than what you and your wife do. It's pretty much me at 99% of the budget nerd. Christy, my wife, is at 1%. You know, so
which is I think is more typical than for most relationships.
Right.
Like my wife's a little nerdy like me too, but yeah, I think most of the time it's like one person's really into it and the other's like, you know, maybe on board, but they're not like super nerdy about it like we are.
Right. But like with the end of the month here, this is all me. Like I look forward to this date and I don't even know if Christy knows it exists, you know? So usually it's always the end of the month, the last day. Because what I do is I primarily focus on my tracking accounts, my retirement accounts, and my mortgage account, and I like to update those numbers. Yeah. And so, especially with the retirement accounts, I want those to be as updated as possible. So waiting till that last moment, and then I just start running through, and I go to all the various websites. It's only 5.
If you waited, it'd be wrong, right? So you got to do it like right at the end of the month, right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I'll log into our retirement accounts, our bank, and then get the mortgage balance, get the retirement balances, and do a reconciliation process for each of those accounts to get the updated balances. You know, I'll also check for overspending, enter in any transactions at the end of the month that haven't been entered already, just so that I can make a clean start, basically, in that new month and not have to go back for any reasons. So, but yeah, I mean, I make this like it is a night for me. You know, I look forward to it. I make sure everything is just perfect.
I just imagine you like getting in the bath with your computer.
Well, not quite the bath.
That sounds a little dangerous, actually, but it's relaxing for you, though, right? Yeah.
Boys are asleep. You know, got my favorite drink possibly, and then all right, let's do this and start running through the numbers. And I love it. You know, I look forward to it. It keeps me engaged in my budget, keeps my awareness at a high level. So, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I used to be like you too because I have a lot of tracking accounts, and I would do it. Yeah, I usually did it on the first of the month, like right away. And I remember, you can't really wait because if you're only looking at the balance. You know, things are going to happen if you wait like a week. Like, you know, you want it to be accurate. So I would do it, and I would do it every month. But lately, I've gone astray a little bit. I usually update my tracking accounts just like once every 3 or 4, or sometimes 6 months. Just depends.
Yep, so, every month,
just whenever I feel like it, pretty much. But yeah,
probably, I was going to say that. Go ahead.
My reports aren't as accurate, but it's fine.
Right. I like looking at the net worth report. Yeah. And then just kind of seeing the ebbs and flows there.
Yeah, that's cool.
But probably the nerdiest thing I do is interest. It always hits my savings account at about 9:00 Central Time.
You know exactly when, like the exact minute.
I get a text message notification when that interest hits the account.
Nice.
So I kind of sit around waiting for that text. Oh, interest is in, and I enter it in. And then that kind of like finalizes that current month. Okay, I got everything in. Yeah. I'm ready for the new month.
When you've got a nice, like, clean slate, like you kind of like drew the line in the sand. This is accurate, and then you can move on to the next thing.
Yep,
that's cool. I like that. That's fun. Do you find it? Is it kind of sad when you have, because you talked about you had like retirement accounts in there and stuff? Is it kind of sad when those go down? Does that put a damper on the evening?
It actually does. Like in March and February, I think those were a couple really bad months.
Yeah, I bet.
But for the past however many years, like it's pretty much every month you're seeing gains, and that's fun. But those months where there's some losses, those are tough to stomach, but it
kind of puts a damper on things, but you still enjoy the process, right? So.
I still enjoy the process.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess that's all we have. That's typically our monthly routine. if you guys
And we would
have
love
any
to hear
tips.
from the rest of you. Like, what do you do at the end of the month? We'd love to hear your process and any tips and tricks that you have for the rest of the YNAB community. I think would be
especially
great.
if you do something kind of weird or what you think is unusual. Although, you might think something is unusual and it's not really. Like my margin thing, I thought that was, for a long time, I thought that was like this great innovation that I had made. And then I started talking to people on the team about it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we do that too." Like everybody does it apparently. So it's
okay.
But tell us what your ideas are, and we'd love to hear it. And any ideas on what you'd like for us to talk about next? Because as of right now, we don't know what we're going to talk about next time. So let us know what you want to hear about, and we'll put it on the docket. So.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for hanging with us, friends. It's been fun. And as always, happy budgeting.
Happy budgeting. See ya. Boom.